The Bloodstone Chronicles, Book 1, A Darker Sun by David Inkling. Chapter 12, Lepidoptera. Milowina takes a small box from her coat pocket. It is the comb she used at the graveside. Its bright white features are not painted, as Eleisa had thought earlier. The butterfly and design on the fine oak box is inlaid with mother of pearl, making the empty box as much a treasure as anything it might hold. "Here," she says. "It used to be kept in this. It's where it should be. Now, if you would kindly return the stone, then take it and place it on your grandmother's grave. You'll need to pray. I'm sure you'll be guided afterwards. Use the prayer of Monica, I think. You do know that one, don't you, Ellie?" "It's the take this, hear my plea, isn't it?" "No, that's Barnabas. It starts, in the daytime, in the dark." "Oh yes, I remember." "And if you can, after everything is fixed and put back in place, bring me back the box. I would like to keep something that reminds me of my mother." They try to step quietly through the night time, but they are excited and chat noisily as they walk. When they get to the graveside, she can't remember the prayer, not all of the words anyway. It is darker now and gloomy in the graveyard. The trees are tall, black and intimidating. They loom over them. But the moon has risen, and when it appears amongst the passing clouds, it passes its soft light over the land. The flowers that had looked so cheerful in the daytime now lay like scattered bits and pieces of wilted life. They resemble dismembered limbs lying on a battlefield. Eleisa places the corm upon the mound in the sunflower garland where her grandmother was laid to rest. The moon's light shines down briefly upon the delicate design, so the white lines and the butterfly glow. Their faint colours and a pearlescent finish shimmer. Then Elisa's voice is heard. Her words rise up into the night. "In the daytime, in the dark, rise within us like the lark. Spirit, place us on the mount." "Oh, no, that's not right," she says. "It has to rhyme with sight. Of all truth within your sight." That's the next line. What rhymes with sight? Bite, white, might. Tom rattles off any words that come to mind. "Delight?" "Flight, plight, fight," Ned suggests enthusiastically. "Fight?" Tom laughs. "Monica was a maestra, Ned, not a champion boxer." "Oh, come on, focus," Eleisa says as she turns and paces back and forth. "Night, tight, slight, night with a K, smite." "Smite? Smite is worse than fight," Ned says. "Yes, but it's the sort of things gods do in the stories, isn't it?" Ellie replies with some justification. Ned walks away slightly aggrieved at the reaction to his perfectly valid suggestions, but he paces back and forth in earnest, thinking of sensible words too. Cartwright, wheelwright, downright, apposite. He calls out with each step that he takes. No one replies, and he's silent as he thinks how fight is indeed an appropriate or apposite word, as much as smite within this context. The clouds part, so soon the moon shines brightly once more. Its great milky white face beams down on them, An owl decides to join them, hooting loudly, so they jump. "What about fright?" Tom suggests. What about height?" Ned says suddenly and calmly. "In fact, what about spirit lift us to the height?" "Oh, Ned, well done, that's it. Spirit lift us to the height of all truth within your sight. Grant us now our every need. Bless this prayer just like a seed," Ned continues. "What?" Tom says incredulously. "How did you do that?" "Did you know it all along?" Eleisa asks. "No," Ned says, laughing. "When the moon came out, I saw it written on that gravestone over there." Eleisa steps quickly over, refreshes her memory, and then recites the prayer in full, ending with, "Grant us now our every need. Bless this prayer just as a seed. Pour sun glory on each head. Bless these words. Anoint each bed. Peace to bones until reborn, when rising on the day of dawn." They stand around the corm and look at each other before lowering their heads. Eleisa asks for guidance to find Tom's bloodstone and for safety and guidance in each step. Then she adds, "and that all would truly live in the sun." "So," and Ned adds his own uttered "so." Tom mutters. At this point the moon is at its height, shining brightly so the gloom over the graveyard lifts. The mother of pearl reflects its white light and shimmers. "Is that it? Is it working?" Ned asks. "I very much doubt it," Tom says. "Tom, please wait," Eleisa says. But unseen above them, something moves. "Oh, it's pointless," Tom says and steps away, and even as he does so he cries out and doubles over. "Oh, my stomach! It feels as if it's burning," he cries. The movement above is a pale glimmering light, soft and gentle, like tissue folding, blown about and bending, then drifting on a current. It comes from high up and then drops lower, shifts and eases its way down. And as it draws closer, it separates to reveal there are two pale, ghost-like wings that shimmer in the moonlight. "Look," Eleisa says, smiling. Ned stands speechless and watches the almost white wings draw close. They have white, feathery bodies with lime green, almost sheer wings. Along the top ridge of the upper wings, there is a coloured line of pale purple, and on the lower wings, an eye spot either side that seems to stare when the moths settle, as they do on Elisa's head. She flicks her head and moves, sending it softly, fluttering up above her. "Butterflies in the night time," Tom says. "No, moths, I think. Look at their bodies and see how the wings are joined. But aren't they beautiful? They're moon moths, and very rare in the Dale Valley." As they fly over and lower themselves around Tom, he cries out.
"Ah, bats!" he yells. "Get them away! They're burning me!"
And he drops to his knees, clutching his belly. "Burning you, Tom? What's wrong? They're moon moths. They're beautiful."
"No, they're disgusting white bats! Get them away from me!"
Tom shrieks and turns away. The moths move off and fly around their heads, shimmering just above Eleisa, circling and pushing towards her. Their delicate wings buffet her as if in a mild rebuke. They draw close to her face, flap their wings softly, but with more energy, as if they might press on her cheeks, but she steps back. They carry on, press forward. Round her head they fly hypnotically and then leave, drawing her after them as she moves. Then flying off, they lead her towards the gate, But when she follows, she stumbles and pauses. So they come back, closer to her once more, touch her ears so that she moves on again. Soon she has stepped away from the grave and onto the path. We need to follow them, Eleisa says.
No, Tom cries out. I'm not going anywhere, not with them.
Come on, Tom, we must. Eleisa takes his arm and pulls him away towards the gate. Look, they're going. As soon as she says this, one of them separates and flies back, circling lower and lower over the grave. Closer and closer it flies.
What's it doing?
Ned says, as he approaches the place where they'd been standing only moments before. As he watches, the moon moth lowers itself, as if it were deflating, and then settles, with its wings folded flat. The eye spots stare at Ned. They seem to move and adopt an expression of frustration.
It's landed on the sunflowers,
Ned calls out and steps forward.
Oh no, it hasn't. It's resting on your grandmother's bloodstone. I think they want us to take it,
he says, and moves to pick up the stone. Ned is sure at that moment that the eye of the moon moth winks at him, but it is so quick, and the wings flap as it rises back up into the air. Don't forget the call for Milowina, Ned says. Once out on the track, the moths move ahead. They seem to help Tom, who cries out less often now that they have moved away from him. He is still reluctant to follow, so his friends go either side and lead him by his arms.
Come on, it's not far, Ned says. And then Eleisa can go swimming.
He hopes this adds a little humour to help Tom, but his friend just stares at him and growls in pain. Then Tom hurls more abuse at the moths whenever he sees them. Every now and then he throws up his hand as if he could clash them together and shatter their pale, delicate wings. But Ned and Eleisa pull him back. The moths fly further ahead and stay out of his way, even as his grumbling increases. It may have been the noise that Tom is making that stops them hearing the horses soon enough. They are galloping along the road, hooves pounding the ground, travelling south on the road from the north. 3 great black beasts with caped riders. They ride as one, heedless of all around them. Soon the riders reach the valley floor where they have a direct view of the stone circle. The road is raised up higher than the plain, which is a patchwork of pools of water and would be a quagmire to such heavy beasts. The riders stay safely on the road and slow gently to a steady trot. It is the sound of a distant dog barking that alerts Ned, and then he sees that the moon moths have risen high up swiftly, their wings beating feverishly as they look ahead to what is coming. There's something up ahead, he calls out. Let's get out of sight. The moths fly down when they see the children and move and disappear off the road into the undergrowth that edges the flats. They are beside the wooden bridge south of the stone circle. Somewhere, the unseen dog barks again. It is loose and moving around nearby.
Under here,
Ned yells and leads the way down into the shallows at the edge of the fast-moving water of the River Stone. The bridge is supported by heavy timbers set into stone-built foundations. The structural arch is one of the oldest bridges in the valley and spans over 30 feet. And at its midpoint, the river is dangerously deep. If they stay close to the edge, however, they can creep under the bridge and hide as the riders pass. Eleisa holds Tom's arm and pulls him close in to the side. Beside them, the dark water swirls at their feet, cold and noisy on the stones that line the riverbed. As they wait, the moon moths settle on the dank and mossy girders of the underside of the bridge and rest. They look like a pair of ghostly faces with greenish eyes staring down, a pair of masts ready to scare the unwary. When the first horse steps onto the bridge, the weight and noise of its hoof is planted heavily on the timber. It is strong enough, certainly, but the sound of the beast walking over thunders in their ears and adds greater dread to their impression of the man, the beast above them. The horse passes, a succession of pounding footfalls, until it is silent once more.
Just one horse. I counted more.
Eleisa says, pushing her mouth close to Ned's ear. He nods in agreement, then holds up 3 fingers and shrugs his shoulders. Had she seen more? She nods back, and then points west, as if to suggest one may have taken the other bridge towards the forest.
Pinedale,
she says, and he agrees. Then she adds,
and Ferndale too.
They look at Tom, who is standing in silence, his eyes glazed and his body shivering.
Let's go,
Eleisa says. In 5 more minutes they climb out from underneath the bridge and reach the ground above, just inside the stone circle. The air is dense with the acrid smell of burning. It sticks in their throats. The stones that have stood for hundreds of years surround them. They loom tall, solid and black. They're daunting in the darkness. 7 giants that symbolize the bounty of each community from the valleys around. Now they look ominous, like mourners with heads bowed in a mute observation of some sombre vigil. At the centre of the group is the vast pile of ash. The children have strayed into the edge of it and kick up damp flakes of burnt wood. It is a wide mound of the scarred remains from the sun totem and the sad remnant of their sun festival. The moon moths circle the fire pit that had been built to contain it, then return and hover nearby, waiting.
Come on, there's nothing here, Eleisa says to Ned. We need to get a move on, or we'll run out of time.
They move past the stone circle and do not look back. It is easy to find the track that takes them out towards Ferndale and on towards the Dale Pool. The road is relatively well made up and is covered with light stones from earlier times, crushed boulders of quarry fragments hauled over countless years by dedicated believers, helping to make the road to the stone circle plain. Now it makes their journey so much better, so much easier. The moon's light glows on the pale path, and it gleams faintly before them.
This way,
Eleisa says, and leads Tom and Ned along the road. It's harder to see and follow the moon moths now, isn't it? Ned says. They don't stand out so much against the pale background. And it is when he says this that Eleisa realizes they have made a mistake. If they don't stand out so much, then it means we do. She looks down. They are now distinctly visible on the track. Their dark shapes move along in a group of 3 quite visible dark spots. The soft glow of the moonlight that had been so kind to them earlier has exposed them. They don't know it, but they'd been right about something else earlier. There was a 3rd rider, and he's nearby, there, on the same road they now follow. But he hadn't trotted off ahead. He waits in the shadows. His horse is still there, silent. He hopes something will turn up, and then he grins at his success. There they go, foolish children, creeping in the darkness, unsuspecting. He moves the heel of his boot, spurs the horse, and gently steps forward. He'd heard the dog earlier and gone to investigate the barking. If there was a loose hound out there, he needed to be silenced. But he hadn't found the dog. The figures he spots moving across the track will not be so lucky. He leads his horse carefully through the edges of the heath, stops, waits, lingers, keen to see what turns up. And what does turn up is the 3 stray youngsters who are quite clearly in his sights. And what are 3 children doing loose on a heath when they should be at home in their snugs? What exactly is happening in these infernal dales? When he is sure he is observing locals breaking the curfew, the guard spurs his horse to a trot, and the creature shifts swiftly towards the dark shapes. They drift through the night on what he considers is a very well-made road that will, should he choose to follow it, carry him to Ferndale. But first, the children.
Run!
Ned screams when he sees the shape of the rider approach. So they do. They split up and run in different directions.
Wait!
The guard calls out. In a few moments, Ned, Eleisa and Tom are each pounding their feet into slippery mud, their hearts banging and their lungs aching as they gasp for ever more air. They run towards the ruins, but when Eleisa looks round, Tom is nowhere to be seen. Tom becomes quickly and totally disorientated. He wasn't sure where he'd been going anyway, and now he's running in a blind panic. But he can hear the pounding hooves of the horse, hear the stirrups and the bridle. It is close. He imagines the hot breath of the horse closing on him. Why can't he make his legs move any faster? Just run! He hears his own voice screaming in his head, and he runs and runs and runs until his legs slip away. His head spins once more, and he knows nothing else. Eleisa steps off the path and sees a moon moth hovering near her frantically. It is fluttering its wings and leads her away deep into the dense trees that cover the hills just north of the river. She can hear water running south of her and knows she will need to take care not to slip. The water is deeper here with steep banks, and it drops down towards Stoneford ruins. She pauses, looks back, and knows she is safe for now at least. So she rests, takes time to catch her breath and scan the area. The rider is way back in the other direction. It's Tom, or Ned, who is being hunted. The moon moth settles on a tree, its delicate lime wings visible against the dark bark. She wonders how far a moth might fly in a normal evening. Will it be able to keep going? Will it suddenly collapse and drop out of the sky like a fallen angel? She realizes she knows so little about such tiny creatures. She is aware of stone around her, cut and shaped into blocks, but heavily weathered. A road. She's run further than she thought in her panic. These are the stones at the edge of the ruins, she's sure, which means it's not far to the pool. She hears footsteps and freezes. "Don't move," says a voice beside her softly. Then the second moon moth flies into her vision and joins its partner. It is Ned. He stands by her, motionless, and whispers, "There's a figure up ahead looking this way. I don't think he's seen us. Stay still." She moves her eyes and sees the outline of someone in the trees, a short figure, perhaps a child, and there, moving by it, is the dog. It must be the dog they'd heard earlier. In a few moments, shadows of Ned and Eleisa move off and disappear into the trees. Perhaps they'll be safe, if only the rider hasn't seen them enter this copse. They breathe more easily, but stay beneath the trees. "I saw you run to the right," Ned says. "So I ran left, and then when I got to the trees, I turned back. The moon moth had followed me, and when I looked for it, it flew up high to look ahead, and it led me back here. That's when I saw you, just as you ran in here. But as I approached, something else moved, something ahead. I was aware of the person with the dog, but it's not the rider. I'm afraid he's chased after Tom." Ned spoke rapidly between deep breaths. Elisa's heart ached at the mention of Tom, but she is relieved to see and hear Ned. "What do we do now?" Eleisa says. "We could assume Tom's got away and will make his way to the pool himself, or we could assume he's been caught and taken into who knows where. Either way, we have to get to the pool. His Bloodstone, rather than Tom, is our priority." "Yes, get the Bloodstone first, find Tom after." They move on and realise that Tom had been a hindrance in his strange reluctance to follow the moon moths. Now they move swiftly and follow the white fluttering of the moths as they shift rapidly between the trees. In 20 minutes or so, they see the moon reflecting directly on the surface of the calm water. They have approached Dale Pool from the southwest, and it is deeper water at this side. There are fewer lilies and plants, so the water is clearer. Without the sun, though, it looks a dense midnight blue, almost black. Eleisa suddenly realizes she will have to swim down into this water, looking for a stone, roughly somewhere in the middle. Her heart sinks. Ned sees her face change. "Come on, we've got to try at least." And they push on up to the water's edge. Eleisa steps forward. They do not worry about the rider anymore. This is all that matters. But the surface of the pool seems immense, a uniform, dull, black nothingness. "I'm nervous," Eleisa says. "So am I," says Ned. "What if we don't find it?" "We try, Ellie. In the daytime, in the dark. Isn't that what we prayed?" "Yes, we did. And Ned, you're a genius. We have the stone. We can use that. We can offer this stone now. It has to be worth trying, and it'll be better than any other rock. But the life has gone out of it. But it's still a sacrifice. A real treasure I'm offering. Grandma would understand." She takes the small wooden caul from her pocket and opens it to retrieve her grandma's bloodstone. There is nothing that glows about it now, but it is familiar as it settles in her palm, and she holds on to it. The only warmth it has now is inside her. She stands still, pauses, and then speaks her words carefully. "For Tom," she says, "to find what was cast off. So," she moves, ready to hurl her grandmother's stone with all her might, but at that last minute she stops, stalls again. In her mind, she sees it land smoothly in the water with a reassuring plop. "By this hand, let justice begin," she thinks. She can hear the words in her head. Why can't she say them aloud? She freezes. Why is it so hard? She closes her hand over the stone. "You can do it," Ned says, and he waits and watches. The surface of the water barely moves. No stone is thrown. There is no arc of descent, no plop. Nothing happens for a long while. And then suddenly they hear the dog. It barks. The bushes beside the trees part, and out steps a small boy. "Hey, you come right by me," he says.